Welcome back, Rare Talks. You already know what it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't, make sure that you go over to the YouTube and check out the new videos. Today is an epic episode, a very, very epic episode. People have asked for it, and we're going to give it to the people. So we've been talking on the last few episodes about toxic women and men being denied access towards their children. It's a topic that not a lot of people talk about, and it's very uncomfortable for some people to actually speak about. But on Rare Talks, you know what we do. We have them uncomfortable conversations to get to comfortable places. So I got a brother with me, alhamdulillah, my brother Ahmed, and he's been through the court system and been in the system and been outside the system helping brothers. He's got a charity and everything else, and he's doing a lot for the people in the community. So I won't need to introduce him. He'll introduce himself. So introduce yourself, my brother.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Jazakallah for give us your platform to, inshallah, share some knowledge, help people, help our community get better. My name is Ahmed and I'm part of a group called Muslim Fathers Support Forum. We are on Facebook. We are in the process of putting a website and everything together. Basically what we are, we're peer support. We're a bunch of fathers that have been through the court system to fight to see our kids and come out the other side. And with that knowledge we've built up, and we've built up peer support. It's not legal support, it's peer support. We can give you insight into how our cases have been, and you know what's out there for help and the do's and don'ts and all that sort of stuff. So if you're in this situation and you're looking out for somebody to kind of give you guidance and help, or just put on the shoulder to cry on, you know, please, you know, come join us. Inshallah, we can help you guys.
That's good. So we're going to start off by speaking about the unspoken pandemic. We all know that we just had COVID, and COVID was one of the biggest pandemics that they preached on us, and how much people were going to die and blah, 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 wear a face mask, wash your hands, blah, 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 blah. But there's an unspoken pandemic that's not spoken about, and that's the real pandemic of men being denied access of seeing their children, which is their God-given right. By once you have a child or someone, I believe it's your God-given right for that man and that woman to both be in that child's life. I don't believe the children should be taken out of life unless there's probable cause of the child being harmed, which would lead to their death. So what is this unspoken pandemic that we're going through right now?
So I'm going to give a bit of my story. So in 2015, I went through the system, you know, and you know it kind of broke me. I didn't come out to it the other side of it too well, but anyway, so at that point I just kind of got on with my life, but I knew something wasn't right. So slowly but surely, when I got my sanity back, I just started to read books and, you know, started to look at stuff. Then I started to spot a pattern that actually, you know what, so there's other groups out there, you know, various Mackenzie groups and all this sorts of stuff that can kind of help you with these sorts of things. And I just used to join them and trying to help anybody out. But so at that point, there were, like, in all communities, you know, people not having access to their kids. It doesn't matter what colour you are, what religion you are. This thing is there, is prevalent. But I started to notice, just pre-pandemic actually, slowly but surely, that in fact a lot of Muslim brothers are coming through now. Right, and now this is starting to rise in our community, and I'm like, what's going on here, right? Before, like, divorce and all these things were quite rare in our communities, but especially this thing here of, like, stopping children from seeing the father, because it's enshrined in our deen that, you know, this is such a major sin. But sure enough, and we're talking all types of brothers, you know, from practicing very little to practicing a lot, you know, this is what I started to notice. So from there, I realised that we don't have a lane. So the Muslim brothers' experience is we have the standard stuff that gets thrown at fathers, which all fathers have, you know, all the false allegations, drug, this, that, the other, all types of claims against them. But then with the Muslim experience in this front, we were getting tossed with, like, religious extremism, terrorism and all that sort of stuff we're getting tossed in. And these are from sisters, practicing sisters. Like, I'm not saying to you this is done by sisters that are, like, part-time Muslims or, you know, like freestyle Muslims or whatever you want to call them, right? What's it called? Modern Muslims or whatever they've been termed as. These are seriously, like, alimas and all types, very practicing sisters turning to this to abuse fathers. It's no joke, I tell you. So I started to notice this, and then obviously the Muslim diaspora is made up of different types of Muslims, various colours, all over the globe, right? And then you've got brothers coming from different countries here. Now they come from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, all these places, Africa and what have you. Now they don't understand the lingo like we do, the ones that are born here. And then they're having to go into this thing and, they don't stand a chance. So I just started to realise that, they're not going to, even like the non-Muslims don't understand the experience, the Muslim experience. So how are they going to translate that in court to help these brothers? So we created this thing, and it was just peer support groups. We started with about 5-6 brothers. Unfortunately, and I say this unfortunately because now we've grown to 500 brothers in our group. Inshallah. Right, and it's something we don't want to see. We want our numbers to go down. We want to become redundant. We don't want to do this. We want this to stop in our community. That's actually our aim. Is to see an end to this. That people go down other avenues, and come to other arrangements that are just way better for the child. A child having access to both parents is the best thing, not the worst thing, and that should be the standard. So we created this thing, and slowly but surely it's grown. And what we kind of do is we kind of help and guide brothers to deal with their cases in effect. We don't give legal advice, we're not lawyers, but we are brothers that have been through the system, and we explain to them like this is how it works. And it is a system, it's a game, and if you don't go at it right, if you don't go with the right mentality. So like we see a lot of brothers, for the first thing we've got to explain to them that this is just a system, and if you're going to go in there with the mindset of being emotional, you're going to get done, right? As I was speaking earlier, it's like a boxer. You got a game plan, the other guy's got a game plan. But before the pre-meets, you're trying to get in the other guy's head so that when you get in the ring, he forgets his programming and he's going to come out swinging wild and you're going to pick him off. This is no different to that. So you got to get into a position where you got your game plan and you're going to stick to it. If you stick to it, inshallah, right, you're going to get the right outcomes. But a bigger test of this is sabr. And you've got to have patience. This isn't a well-oiled machine, right? Court is farcical, in all honesty. And it's slow. And so, what you think, all right, this case, I've got my hearing here, they'll go here, and, a week later, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, this, no. We're talking months and months and months. And you've got to jump through the hoops at various levels, right? And you have to, the common standard is, innocent until proven guilty. But in family court, it's kind of the other way around. You're guilty until you prove yourself innocent, which is really weird. And something you brothers need to really get grasp in this. So if you're in a situation where you've been dished out with non-molestation orders and occupation orders and all that sort of stuff, don't violate them. First of all, sit back, go get the advice. Don't break any of these orders, because the moment you do, that's the other side has got their leg through that door, and that's going to put you in a very tight situation, make it very difficult for you. So you need to center yourself, get yourself in the zone, and rationally work your way through the system, getting the right advice. And I said the important, I've got to really stress about the right advice. The right advice in this arena moves you forward inches. The wrong advice moves you back miles, right? That's how intricate this thing is. So you've got to make sure that you're getting the right legal advice, and if you are relying on people to advise you, that they're advising you correct. It's a really big thing. I've seen many bros, somebody that some uncle or aunt said, no, just go and see and speak to her. But there's a non-molestation. No, she'll let you talk to her. She doesn't want this. Go. Then you go back, tuk, straight thing, 999, and that's it, done, khalas, right? So don't fall for these traps. Stick to the system, work to how the system works, and inshallah, once you get to the end of it, right, and you step correctly, you'll get your results.
That's crazy that you said that, because some people might get drawn out, because the woman might be like, do you want to come see your children? And when he comes around to see the children, she says that he's not meant to be around, and then calls police.
Well, this is it. From that point onwards, right, you've got to protect yourself. Record everything. Get those apps on their phone, so any phone calls come in, record it, delete the ones that don't need, but anything comes in, record everything. So that if you do get blindsided, You've got the evidence to prove it, right? So, if you haven't recorded it, don't go. Simple as that. Think to yourself that, okay, if I turn up there and she calls the cops, can I prove that she's the one that's called me? Right? If you don't do these things, brothers, right, you're going to get done. I'll be straight with you. You've got to protect yourself to the nth level, because if you don't, one little slip up, like I said to you, right, the right things take you inches, the wrong thing takes you back miles. And just remember that.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So, let's go to the court side of it. So, a man wants to, the woman is put him in a position where he wants to take her to court. What is the system and the process for that? Is it as easy as people make it sound, like, oh, just take the woman to court?
Well, the thing is this, right? So you've got to set yourself correctly, right? So you've got to know your options, and I think this is an important part. Do you need a lawyer? No. Is it good if you have one? Of course. But lawyers are going to cost you. Lawyers work on billable hours. So if you're going to go down that path, right, make sure you've got the money, the resources for it, right? So like a basic case, and that's if it runs to standard, is going to be about 15K, right? So that's what you've got to start off with. And your lawyers are going to rinse you. And especially remember this much, right? If your lawyer emails her lawyer and her lawyer emails back and this, that, the other, and they have that little back and forth, each email is going to cost you about 30 quid. So if your lawyer's dealt with about 10 emails from your side, that's 300 quid straight in, right? And so we need to be sharp in how what their practices are. Now there's an alternative to this, something called Mackenzie Friends. Now Mackenzie Friends aren't solicitors, but they know about the law, they know how to do documents. But the only thing they can't do is in court, they can't talk for you. But maybe you can get somebody like this to come sort your documents out. If you're blessed with the gift of the gab, as they say, and you can talk in court and you can follow instructions, then maybe this is a good option for you. But alternatively, if you're not and you can't articulate yourself well in court, then maybe the option is you use a Mackenzie friend, but then get yourself a direct access barrister. So a direct access barrister is a barrister that you directly hire, and he or she will come and do the talking for you in court.
And how much they cost as well?
Yeah, so a barrister on average will cost you about £1,000 starting at, in that range. That's going to be a box standard basic one. Then can go up to even more, depending on, can go all the way to 10 grand a day, if not more.
A day? I thought that was just like for the whole case.
No, sorry, this is just a day, lucky, right? So just a day for a barrister, you're looking at about £1,000 a day, right? And that's for the low end ones, right? The really good ones, right? In all honesty, if you're, depending on your situation and what kind of help you need to pick the right tools for the job. And sometimes if your situation's tough and you need to really battle court and this, that, the other, you might need to put in for a barrister that costs about 3k a day, so like 2-3 days of that, that's 3 days, 9 grand. You're down, So you need that kind of guidance. You really need to know and have your plan. And it's really important that you go out and get this advice, get this guidance. Inshallah, look us up. We're on Facebook. Hopefully, inshallah, at some point we'll have a website for all of this. But speak to other brothers that have been through it, get their take on it, see what worked for them, what didn't work for them. But also remember this: your case isn't going to be like their case. Every case is individual. It's the little minute details that kind of just give it that enough sort of twist to it that makes your case different enough that you have to change your tactics accordingly.
So isn't there legal aid for people that go through cases like this?
No, so since I can't remember, I think 2015 or something like that, or was it prior to that, they changed the legal aid laws, right? So before, both parties could get legal aid, then they changed the laws so that only one party can. The one party that is making the abuse allegations, domestic abuse allegations, you qualify for legal aid. So the government is basically sponsoring their false allegations, essentially. So so that's the system. So you've got a system that what it does, it breeds acrimony. But acrimony is causes wants people to fight. So what's the examples of that? So straight away, so for them to get legal help, right, they have to make allegations against you. Do you want legal aid? Yes, then you need to make allegations straight away. So when they go down to places like Women's Aid or refuges and stuff like that, if your woman's disappeared to refuge, just know this is what's coming your direction, right? So then they're going to make these allegations to get legal aid to protect them in court, yeah? So from that, straight away, you can't get legal aid, right? You work, generally men are the ones that go out to work and all that sort of stuff. So straight away, you don't qualify. And then we don't really generally make accusations about domestic abuse, despite that there are many brothers that have been domestically abused.
Yeah.
They stay quiet on it, right?
And remember we was talking about that earlier as well. So
yeah. You know, we've got many brothers that have been abused, but they stay quiet because obviously the stigma that's attached to it.
Yeah.
So that's your situation. So from there, you know, there are alternatives, but explore them properly and figure out what works best for you. If you're willing to put in the work, you can do a big chunk of the work yourself. You know, I still say get some advice, but you know, you got to understand tactically this is what they want to do. So they're going to do the legal aid thing because straight away they don't have to pick up the legal costs, and they get about something like 25k for their legal costs, right?
For free,
yeah, for free.
For false allegations as well.
Yeah, you know, you just have to make that allegation, right? Nobody's vetting this on the other side and stuff. And at the end of it, even if you disprove those allegations, nobody's coming back and saying, well, actually, your allegations weren't proved. Can you pay us back the money? None of that happens, right? So, you know, so this is why you've got that. Then on top of it all, right, then, you know, obviously the court, you know, it's a big fundraiser, isn't it? Right, you got your court fees. First of all, you got your application costs. I think a C100 is where but generally everybody has to start at that sort of level, right? So you got mediation, actually, no. So depending on your case, right, you got mediation. Mediation will cost you about 100 quid for a session. Then if the other party don't turn up, then just for them to sign a letter will cost you about 120 quid.
Yeah.
And you need that.
150, right? I think it's 150 now.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, the prices have changed a bit. Yeah. So you need that signed off for you before you can make your application to court. Then court's going to cost you about £237. That was at the time of this. Sorry, at the time of this, that's the cost of it. So straight away you're rolling it out. Then imagine if you've got solicitors and stuff like that, that your wallet's going to be getting rinsed. So
because a lot of people online and just in life in general, they say the woman stopped the man from seeing the child. Just take her to court. They make it sound like it's just like a walk in the park.
No.
You just phone up tomorrow, you get a court access next week, you get to see your children. If you don't do that, you're not a good father as a man.
So think about why you're going to court, right? What's happening when you're going to court? What's happening when you're going to court is you're taking control off that other person. So essentially imagine that Mike Tyson's there and he's got the belt, you want the belt. You're going to have to go in that ring and fight him for it, yeah? And you're going to have to fight hard. If you don't go in there without no training, no plan and this, that, the other, you're going to get whooped, yeah?
100%.
Right? So this is it. So that's when you're going into court, so she's going to protect herself, realistically. Or the other side, we won't say she, but the other side's going to protect themselves. So you're going to have to arm yourself correctly as well. And it's going to be a straight up battle. Nobody wants to lose control. The reason these things generally happen are this: financial, controlling, or revenge. Essentially, they're the three main categories of this sort of stuff, right? And for the brothers that have been through this, and to think about back to it, you know, sort of right on the channel, you know, tell us what you're thinking there, right? But they're the main three categories I've seen. Like I'd say 99.9%. Maybe that 1% is something else. I've not come across it yet. Yeah. But you know, there's something there, right? We'll just give it a bit of room for a bit of error there, right? So when you've got somebody that's motivated like that, you're going to have to fight hard to get what you want.
When we said at the beginning false allegations, what kind of false allegations do women usually use? What's the because you know there's like buzzwords. What's the buzzwords that they use?
So these are the buzzwords, right? So obviously there's physical, and physical is smacking and all that sort of stuff, and then there's sexual, which is rape, various types. Then you've got financial abuse. Now this one is where the Muslim brothers need to really think about it. Under the Muslim experience, the men are the ones that are the providers. Yeah. So generally, what happens there is that the mortgage is in our name, the bills are in our name because that's our burden. Yeah. So then they're saying that, oh, he never gave me money, this, that, the other. Look, everything's in his name, this, that, the other. But hold on a second, but you're the one that's quoted Islam. So in the relationship, they've quoted Islam, saying this is what you've got to do.
But then now in this part, when they can use it as an advantage on their side,
Exactly.
they're going to say financial abuse. He controlled all the money, never gave me access to nothing, and I feel vulnerable and used to abuse me, and this is how you can control me for this much years.
Yeah, so that's it. So they're going to cherry pick stuff, right? Things that they wanted Islamically, right?
Stuff.
That, oh, you know, I don't want men and women mixing, this, that, the other. This will be their thing. But they're going to court and they'll be like, no, he's a religious extremism. He wouldn't allow the mixing of sexes and this, that, the other. Despite this happening in their own father's house, by the way, this is what they've learned. You know, I've even sisters that wear hijab and niqab prior to marriage, then saying that, oh no, he forced me. And then the brothers are putting out photographs like, look, you know, like this is before we got married. How does that work? You know, this is the level of evidence you have to come up with to protect yourself, right? So then you've got this financial abuse. Now this one here is the one you've really got to watch out for. Is this coercive control thing? This is the new flex that they're on, right? The Women's Aid have really pushed this, right? And basically this is like gaslighting and all these sorts of terms that are just like them once saying one thing, they can twist it and manipulate it. And if that turns up, then what they do is saying that, oh, he's trying to control me through the children. That's why. So even if you're a good dad and you've proven that, but because like it's been proven that you've been coercively controlling her, that could be a reason for them to like block access as well. So these are the kind of things that are really there that, you know, you really got to understand what you're up against and how to deal with them. If you don't deal with them correctly, you know, then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and then you're going to fall into a pit, and then it's going to be a hard slog to get yourself out of that.
Whoa.
So that's kind of what you're going. So let's just talk about going back to the court process thing. So you start with the mediation. They don't turn up in this, that, the other. They sign it off. Then you've got to fill out a C-100 form, right? And if you've got allegations against her, like maybe, you know, she's abusive to you, she's abusive to the kids, she's got issues, whatever it is, then you put it in a C-1A, right? That's your application to the court, and that's going to start the process. Then at some point, right, depending on what you've written and what have you, and in fact, this is a very good one to go for, right? So if she's likely to leg it, so let's just say you're based in London and she's about to disappear to Birmingham or something, you want to stop that, because if she does get to disappear like that, brothers, then it's going to be very hard for you to see your kid like 50-50. Because there's that big gap, then you can only see them every other weekend. You're the one that's having to go up and down. Again, attack on your wallet. You know, then we're talking about the system wants acrimony. Now, because you can't get 50-50, now you've got to pay her child maintenance. Despite it's her choice to disappear with the kids. Then
Whoa. So with child maintenance, they're still going to take money from me, even though... What? Say that. What?
Yeah. So basically, if you don't have a 50-50 order with the child, right, to see the child, and the child's going to be with you 50% of the time, then from there the child maintenance are going to come after you for the money, right? That's, you know, so let's just say you see him every other week.
But do you know how crazy that sounds though? You're not getting to see the child, and they know that, but their concern is more in your pocket than actually getting you to see your child. Child maintenance shouldn't just be about money. It should be maintaining the child in general, mental, physical, and being... Because look, imagine what you just said to me. You're saying, because they know you're not seeing the child, they expect more money from you, instead of saying, how do you get to see the child? Yeah. Shouldn't that be the case?
What they've done, right? They've created a system that financially rewards parental alienation, withholding access.
Wow.
Right? So imagine if the woman's withheld access to, right? Then from that point, then she puts in a claim to the CMS. That's the full whack, right? I forget what it is, like 10% of your earnings or what it is. Yeah. And you've got no say in how it's spent or anything, right? So this could be spent funding her trip to Santorini or something, right? But it doesn't matter, right? She might spend like 20 quid on the child, then take the other 100 quid and go get her nails and hair done. You got no say in the matter.
So you're just funding her, basically.
Yeah, that's it, right? So this is how the system works. So it breeds acrimony again. So now not only one part is making them make false allegations. Now you got the other part of saying, right, actually, you know what? It works out better for you financially if you don't give access to the kids.
Do you know how wild this sounds? This sounds like the system is actually designed to actually ruin us. Because you're saying to me now, she stopped access, but she can still get money.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you understand how that breeds in her mind? Like, I'm not going to make you see your child, but I'm going to still take money from you. It's like, you don't want me to see my child, so why would you want money from me? Like, make it make sense. Wouldn't the money that I'm giving you because I'm seeing the child?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because I know some men that pay, I call it extortion money. Mm-hmm. That's what I call it. I'll be honest. I call it extortion money. Well, I call it extortion money. If a woman says the only way you're going to see your child is if you pay me this, that's extortion. That's what. If someone kidnaps someone, they say you're going to get this ransom if you pay this. That's extortion money. Only difference is this is extortion money every month. So this is like the mafia now.
Yeah, it's government sponsored mafia. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're spot on there, brother. Right, and that's just it. It's you just look at it. Imagine if you could start cutting off these avenues. Stuff like legal aid. If one party gets it, both parties get it. Right?
Fair.
Right, fair.
Because remember, for years, women are saying that it's not fair for women. But now, the shoe's on the other foot. From what you're telling me now, everything sounds like it's against men, because I don't get it. You could take money from me. I don't get to see my child. You don't even help me and assist me, because CMS ain't helping you to see your child. I remember a man called up and said, look, you're taking money from me. Can you at least help me see my child? It's not my problem.
Oh, bro, man, the CMS, wallahi, an entity that's just absolutely disgusting. So these guys, right, so if they take money off you and give it to the other party, they're going to charge you 20% to collect money off you. And all it is a direct debit, right? So that's 20% off you, and going to charge the other side 4%. So now if this other side wants to cheese you off even more, hurt your wallet more, so you've got to say, let's say you had to pay £100 a week. Now you're going to pay £120 a week. That 20 quid goes to the CMS.
What?
Yeah. Right. Then if they get you in a really bad state, in a bad way, then they can do DOE, which is deduction of earnings. That thing there is like, oh man, I've seen brothers getting clocked $1,000 a month from theirs. Right?
I've seen man like working, got their nice job and got hit with it straight away. Yeah. And they said that they owe.
Yeah. So backdated, yeah. Oh man. You know what? And this is it. If you know what, if you're in it and you contact your MPs, right? And let them know this oppression is happening to you, this extortion. Right, is happening to you guys, because the thing is, men are very silent about the oppression that we're facing through all of this, through the courts, through the CMS, right? The fact that we don't get legal aid, all these sorts of things, right? Because we're quiet. The women have been very vocal about it.
Very.
Right? Women's aid get money from the government, millions, right? So we need to put a stop to that. So if we got to let them know that this is the oppression that's happening to us. If we don't say this to them, then you know what, nothing's going to change. So, put yourselves out there, put yourselves on the line, air your dirty laundry. Yeah, I know it's painful and you become like gossip and all that sorts of stuff. But if we don't do this, brothers, right, we ain't going to get nowhere. So we need to start voicing up.
I think the MP part, so I'm with you on that one, that we start sending letters to the MPs.
Yeah.
Because this is actually ridiculous that they can do so much with your money, your earnings that you're getting, that's even putting you into more depression now, that you're paying, you see something coming out from your salary but you don't see the fruit of actually seeing the child. That's evil. To me, that's evil. It's like, I don't know what do you call something like, psychologically, what do you think? Because even like, imagine you see £150 coming out of your account towards a child that you do not even get access to see.
Yeah.
And they're not even, if it was 150 and they said, look, all right, to the woman, look, you have to go and make him see the child because he's paying £150 to you. As bad as it sounds, I'll say there's no money in seeing your child because you can't put a price on seeing them smile. Yeah? There's no price on it. But say that you're going to take this money from me and I can't even stop you because once it's a DEO or something, it's taking it from your earnings. You cannot stop that. That's your check coming in. They're taking it straight from there.
So if you're in that situation, they can only do that to you for 6 months. They're not going to tell you this. They'll keep it rolling.
Say that again, brother. Tell everyone on the camera, please. Say that again.
They can only do that to you for 6 months, right? But they won't stop it, right, until you check them up on this, right? So you got to contact them, and it's a pain, right, to get, because you could be waiting hours, right, or to get through that on the phone. But stick with it and contact them and say, right, I've paid 6 months. Now I want to go to the other thing, which is this collect and pay thing that they do, then even that collect and pay thing where they charge you that 20%, they can only do it for 6 months. Then from that point onwards, then you go to direct pay, and then that's it. Then you're just paying that amount directly to the other party, and you won't get done. But you've got to get on top of it. If you're getting CMS letters, don't ignore them. Engage, deal with it, face it. If you need help, come see us. We'll connect you up, right? We'll direct you to where you need to, right? But deal with it. If you can, when you contact them, they got this CMS portal thing, right? Get that, because trying to get through them on the phone is a pain, right? Get this portal, then you can deal with them through the portal. That way, it's all documented as well, right? Don't mess with these people. They don't care about you. They don't care if you've got food to eat. Here's so stupid about the system, right? So imagine you got one baby mama and you got another baby mama. So you got 2 kids. And if you were to pay money to 2 baby mamas, right? The first baby mama gets more money than the second child. The first child gets more money than the second child. Go look this up. There's a child maintenance calculator, right? Put it in and set it up so that you're paying money to two different women, right? And put it and see what the figures come back with. You'll see like one child gets 50 quid, the other child gets 40 quid or something, right? And you're like, how the heck's that? It should be equal, right? This is how stupid the system is, right? And we need to start calling it out. So if you want to have a little laugh, go with that child maintenance calculator and then put this in, you'll see what I'm saying.
That is wild. What is parent alienation? What is that?
So parental alienation, right, is basically when the other party's telling the child, your dad, he don't want to know you, he hates you, he's gone off with some other woman, right? He doesn't care about you. Basically making the child hate you. And that child doesn't want nothing to do with you. And that's what parental alienation is. So, but if you're in court and this is happening to you, don't go blurting it out. It won't do you no favors. You've got to tactically roll with it, right? So what you've got to do is with Kafkas. So the Kafkas part of this in court are the eyes and ears of the court. They've got to do their assessments, and hopefully that they pick this up. They're getting better now. They've got a framework in place and stuff. If they haven't done it, ask them, have you done this framework? So it's one of the things, and inshallah, if it's there, they pick it up, and if they bring that to the table, that changes the dynamics in your favour. So there's lots of things you've got to do, right? Just going back to that court process bit. So like once you've put it in, basically, if you've got somebody toxic, they're going to make false allegations to you. Then from that point onwards, what you're going to have is a finding of fact hearing. Now this thing here, this is where we've got to clear. It's like a trial. But remember this much, in family court, it's not done on like absolute, right? It's done on absolute evidence that is proven outright that, yeah, right? It's done on probability. So now, basically, there's like a counter, right? No, it moves in your favour or her favour or whichever it is, right? So the fact that you two were together and she's saying something, the counter's there, well, maybe something's there. Unless you've got some hardcore evidence that proves your innocence, right? On probability, something maybe did, you two were together, you spent a lot of time together in private spaces, she's saying this, and that's how it works, right? Obviously a lot more involved in that, but that's the level it kind of works at. So you really need to protect yourself. If you're in that situation, you really need to put in the work. So what happens is they make statements, you've got to do a rebuttal, make sure you put the time and effort in, if you've got evidences and all this sorts of stuff, text, this, that, the other, everything you've got that's going to prove your innocence, you've got to put it down there. You have to prove your innocence, essentially. That's the battle you're in. So you need to really get together and really put this forward.
So she makes the allegations. Does she need to bring evidence on her side, or can she just make the allegations and
so she can just make the allegation, and then she can just write a thing, and then it's realistically, at that point, a normal judge would say, like in a criminal court, well, there's no evidence supporting this, we're going to have to throw this out. But here they'll say, no, well, we'll have to do a hearing on it, a trial on this, and then she has to put her case forward, and you're going to put your case forward and still prove yourself innocent in effect, right? And then based on probability, that you come out the other side. Then if stuff's found against you, right, then then they're going to send you down particular paths of domestic abuse courses and what have you. So that delays access to your child even more, because that's going to take a few more months to do these things. Now they're changing the system currently, right? But it's just
how long do these cases take? Because people make it sound like it's next week. How long do you've been with someone? How long is you
minimum? And that's if it's good is 8 months, right? If the court's moving like that.
If it's long,
could be years, 2-3 years,
just to see your child.
Yeah, depending on how much allegations back and forth, what's been found, this, that, the other, it can have a lot of back and forth, and it can drain and destroy you. This is why you see, like, if you look at suicide rates in men, right, it's really high, and one of the major factors in these suicide rates is actually family courts or family situations where they're not seeing their kids. And you totally get it. You're seeing it because think about it. This thing's slow. It's like a slow, somebody sort of like tightening the screw on you very slowly, right? And it's just there. And the thing is, you can't switch off from it. These are your kids, your heart and soul. Yeah. Right. And you can't switch off from it. So there you are sleeping at night, and you're trying to get to sleep, and then you get, you're reminiscing, thinking about your kids, and this thing in court, then that thing in court. She said this. He said, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to take the lawyer there. All these things, and it grinds you down. It's funny because a lot of people will say, like, speak bad of like Muslim countries and stuff here, but I actually respect some countries how they move. Like in Morocco, when I was watching a documentary, they're saying a woman, she cannot get any benefit, no help in the hospital, no financial help, nothing, if we don't know who the father is. Like, they want to know who the father is. And like, that's how they're speaking in Morocco. And people are like, oh, but that's harsh, maybe she got raped, or maybe this happened, maybe that happened. But I understand the point of what they're trying to do there, because they're trying to stop stuff like this from actually happening. But okay, let's just bring back to a little point there, right? So like, let's just say that there's acrimony, right? Like abuse, whatever it is between the two parties. The two parties don't get on. Just because they got divorced, that doesn't stop the dad from being a dad.
Thank you.
Right? And that's one thing we've kind of put forward here. The law is actually fair, right? The Children's Act and like the Human Rights Act and all these sorts of things, right? They state that, a father should have access to his kids.
That's the law.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. The only time they can't have access is if it's proven like that's, or that there's a safety issue. Right? But, the way they're going about determining these things and all this sorts of stuff is about questionable. So, look, right now, I'm telling you, in the court system, there's thousands of men, right, going through what we've been just talking about. So, I can't remember what it was. So, a few years back, there was a chap called Harvey Procter. Harvey Procter's a Tory MP. Some dude came off the street, went to the coppers, and said, him and his MP mates all grabbed me and raped me.
What?
Then the coppers got heavy-handed, went there, grabbed them all and chucked them in cells and this, that, the other. So these guys are MPs. They got cheesed off about it, and they've held an inquiry into it and all this sorts of stuff, right? This isn't happening for fathers, but this will happen for MPs. But they won't do that for everyday men, right? So we need to voice this up and make that happen. That guy, anyway, he's left Parliament, but he's now kicked off some kind of think tank initiative or whatever it is about this sort of stuff, about false allegations and what have you. But it's mainly to do with the way that they've got done. But they're not talking about what's happening in family court. But we need to start voicing up. Contact your MPs, right? Imagine if there's like a particular part of, let's just say South London, right? And everybody in South London contacts a South London MP and says, look, this is my situation, this. Then all of a sudden, if he's getting about like hundreds or thousands of emails all talking about this one subject, they're going to start listening and then start using our votes and stuff like that. Even in our masjids and all this sorts of stuff in our communities, we have voices and people want to listen. Don't feel like, people are doing my business. Listen, right? Nothing's going to change. If you stay silent, people are just going to get away with it. Right? That's been the biggest reason why we've seen a rise in these things.
Because of men being silenced.
Yeah.
Men being silenced and feeling like they're hopeless and there's no hope. That's the reason why I even spoke up myself, because I realised that a lot of men are embarrassed. I said this, I've been saying this for the last year. A lot of men are embarrassed to actually come out and say, she stopped me from seeing my children, because they automatically think people are going to look at them and say, you're a deadbeat. you're a deadbeat, or you abused her, and she's going to bring up things that you may have done. Maybe there's some things that you've actually done.
Absolutely.
Maybe as a man, there's certain things that you've done that wasn't correct in the relationship, and you're embarrassed that it's going to get put out to the forefront. But by that embarrassment and that little bit of shame there, it's denying you access to your children.
Yeah.
And then by you not speaking up, staying silent about it, you're suffering with mental health. So now your mental health is at risk. You're still not being able to see your child, and you're getting extorted financially.
Yeah,
there's so many stuff going on in the background of his life. And we just see him, oh, assalamu alaikum, how are you? Yeah, I'm good.
Listen, if you get hit up with the allegation list, right, and they're saying rape, physical violence and all this sort, is standard, right? And again, right, even if both parties were in a toxic relationship, right, because it happens, right?
It does.
Listen, men, sometimes we need to learn to pick better partners. We need to
facts.
Need to look with more than just our eyes.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah? And our other heads. You get me, right? you know what I mean, right? Because the thing is, that's just it. Here, look, think about this, right? So, from my experience, when you're looking to get married, right? So when a woman's looking to get married, what does she look at, right? Is he educated? Has he got money? Has he got a good job? Is he from a good family? Is it this? The list like that, yeah? We look at it, right? We might have a couple other things, but is she fit? Has she got a firm ass? That's it. Okay, sold. That's it. We need to change that. We need to start learning about women. We need to learn how to read their codes. Right, like the Da Vinci Code thing, right? That's what this is. Some kind of codex. We need to unravel and say, right, actually, you know what? You've actually got toxic tendencies, and we need to talk about the sort of female toxic behaviour.
Thank you. That's a topic that I had nobody address. I think most men are scared to address it because they know that it's going to get them a lot of backlash, and they don't want that backlash to be on their back.
I want to say this to you here, right? Watch in your comments, right? If you got women watching it, right, or if this gets circulated and stuff, right, the women will turn up and say, what about abused women, right? But I want you to look at this, right? Every time a man voices up and stuff like that, you'll see this about this whataboutery. And that's basically, like I say to you, it's just basically the all lives matter move on things. We're talking about the black experience, this is what's going on. But all lives matters. It's not there to talk about, that everything should be right for everybody. No. It's to undo that movement. That's what it's really about. And that when they pull up that play on you, that's what this is. And you'll see. So when a woman writes about domestic abuse, you'll never ever get a man writing about, but what about male domestic abuse? You'll never ever see that. But any man that writes this thing, you'll see the women chime in there. Look at this Johnny Depp thing that's kind of going on.
Yeah.
This man's proven that this woman's been lying from day dot, right? That this woman's toxic, she's abused me, she smashed my finger, all this sorts of stuff.
The woman said, I never slapped you, I hate you. She's trying to make it sound like... Right? And this guy, remember this much, for him to get justice, this guy's got millions in the bank, right? Then the places he was staying at were all bugged up and everything, right? You had internal security systems that record him 24/7 and all that sorts of stuff, right? That's the level of protection he had that got him out of this, to prove it, right? Us everyday guys, we don't have that sort of stuff, right? But then look at the end of that trial when she got found out and stuff. Right, straight away. Oh, this is a bad day for women's for female domestic abuse. How? It's a bad day for false accusers. People that are making false accusations. They're not about gender. It's about for those people that are making false accusations. Yeah.
That's what it's a bad day for people that are doing bad things like that. But no, they've hijacked it. Right? Oh, and then she's still going away. That I've let the other women down. No, what are you on about? This is it. And watch. I want brothers to start, or everybody, right? When you start seeing these things in the media, TV, print, and all that sort of stuff, right? Look at it. Look at the comments and stuff, and look at the narratives that there. It's that narrative that they're building on us, that they keep perpetuating in society, that women are at danger and this, that, the other. Men are having the best thing in life. Men always get the best top-paying jobs and all this sorts of stuff. Actually, just statistically, I can get my tongue there, right? Most men, out of the homeless community, most are men. Most people to commit suicide are men. the most poor people in society are men. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, I get it. There's men on top, at the top, very.
But there's
very
that,
top.
that's a 2%, 1% club.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
but at the
everyone.
bottom, there's more of us there.
There's
than there
way
are
more
there.
of us, way more of us there.
Right. And this is it. And these kind of things that we need to talk about, start voicing up. You know, we can't let them get away with it. Don't be silent. Let's tell your truth, man. Don't worry. Right? Yeah. You know, hold your hands up if you've done wrong. Yeah, we all make mistakes. I get that, but that doesn't mean, right? If there's redemption for people that have committed murder and they get let out of prison at some point, if they can have redemption, why can't we?
Facts.
Right? And this is it. And you know, we just need to put we need to start calling this system out. And you know, really get kids back with their fathers.
That's
you know?
it. That's the real. That's what everybody wants in the end. And I think the system and even social media is playing a part in actually doing the opposite of that. If I'm being honest with you, because now we have even social media. It's the court system and something is one thing, but a woman putting together false accusations and putting it out there on social media is actually made it 6 times even harder for men. Because whether she brings proof or not and she just says a statement, from a woman to a woman, they would say, why would she lie? Now, to me, that's not a basis of evidence. A basis of evidence is never on what someone says. Where is your proof? Because if we all go with what everybody says, then everybody's a liar. But what scares me most is that you said the sisters, the Muslim sisters that have knowledge of the deen and understand it, are doing this to men. Because I thought that they would have, of all people, would have had the most fear of Allah and thought, I'll make him see his child because I believe in Allah and I know there's going to be a day when Allah is going to hold me account. Forget this man for a second. This child is actually his. Because there's no, I don't see the point in stopping a man from seeing his child that is actually his, unless you think maybe the child's not his. Then, all right, that's going a whole other direction. Yeah. But let me know then.
Yeah.
But don't stop me from seeing my child and then put up false allegations as a Muslim, because we know in Islam that's a big thing. That's not a small thing to make accusations against someone.
Absolutely. But then even on top of that, then taking his property. Right? Tell me something. Here's the thing, right? If you want to look at this with the right lens. So you imagine somebody comes to you with accusations. I know where, generally, I think, well, it's just my personal opinion, I can tell truth ones and false ones. And the ones that are true is this: I want nothing to do with him.
Yes.
Right? I don't want his money. I don't want to be in that house. I want nothing from him.
Yes.
That to me is a powerful statement. If a woman's saying that to you, that guy's been up to stuff.
Yeah.
Right there. But then if she's still like taking his money, so like, I've been abused in this house, but I still want to live there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Right?
I still let him come round to the house and stay, but he raped me. But he's allowed to be in the house alone with me all the time.
Yeah. So this is it, right? So like, imagine you get through the other side of this, right? You get through and you got access to your kids. Now you're getting women, then the crazy one, right? Still, we've got one brother, right? He went through this, and the woman accused him of all sorts, like, oh, I'm in danger, my life, you know, think about the kids. Usual stuff, right? Yeah, right? Now, they're on the outside, he's got through the court, he's got court order to see the kids. So now he's saying, okay, let's meet at a location, right? As the car park, police station, whatever, right? To do the exchanges. No, I'll come and drop him to your house. Then she's coming there knocking, oh, can I have a cup of coffee and stuff like that, right? And trying to come in. Then she's inviting him out. Oh, like let's have a coffee and a dinner and have a chat and see how we can best manage the kids and co-parent. Hey, like, one minute you've accused this guy.
I'm recording everything. I'm having one of them recorders on me. You know the recorders. You know the police ones when you got the recorders.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, right? There's no so when you get to the end of a fact find and it's been proven that you've done nothing, there's no repercussions for this person. But
that's why I think we need to start using social media to our advantage.
Yeah, but the problem is this, right? So this is it, right? This is where bro's got to be careful. If you start voicing up about your case and what happened in court and this, that, the other, right? They can do you for it.
How?
Because you're not allowed to talk about specific cases in family court. This is how they cover up. Look, when you got
so someone can be an abuser. So how did Johnny? Because he went through the criminal.
So that's a civil matter. In America, it's different, right? But because it was in the public interest, that's how it all got out. Yeah. But generally, if it's got children in it and they've got no children, remember Johnny Depp's got no children with Amber Heard, right? So it's there. But if you've got children involved, then it's all secret squirrel stuff. This is why people have tried to make documentaries about the family court, and they can't get in because they're so limited to what they can say. They've got a very small scope. That small scope ain't going to make you a documentary. Nothing worthwhile watching anyway, right? The only thing you can do is maybe get brothers anonymously telling their stories. And I think that's the only thing we can do. But we do, no matter what it is, voice your story, but protect yourselves. So make sure you understand that part of it properly. So if you are going to tell your story, make sure that it's in a way that it can't come and bite you later. That's, you know, so...
When you say financial settlement, what do we mean by financial settlement in court?
So if you go to court and you got to like go through divorces and this, that, the other, and you got property or whatever, and property like Islamically, right? You know, generally we don't get married through the civil process, but we still get married Islamically, right? So then the women can. So let's just say the women then kick you out and do occupation orders, but then they stopped you from seeing the kids. So what does that mean? That they're the full-time carers. So when you're going in for financial settlements, right, they're saying, well, I've got the kids 24/7. I need more money. So then from there, it should be a 50-50 split at best at that, right? Even though it really Islamically, you know, you walk away with what you put in, right? But in the civil thing, they try to push that to try and get like a 70-30 split in the woman's favour. Yeah, it's to that level. So these are the things. So if you're in this situation and you've got to go financial and stuff, sort your kids out first. If you've got your kids, then straight away you're destroying that narrative in the financial settlement. So you've got to make sure that you're going about these things correctly. If you're stuck for this, go join the group. You know, we've got a WhatsApp group and stuff like that as well. Ask other brothers. You know, and if not even just us, but like speak to other brothers that have been through it and see. You know, let's start talking. We've all got droplets of knowledge. Let's start sharing it and picking it up. They've got this concentrated in like women's aid of what to do and stuff like that, how to use the system and all that sort of stuff.
Is there any men's aid or is it just...
No, bro. There's actually one good place. It's called Dads Unlimited, actually, right? I think they're based in the south somewhere. That might be that are worth looking at as well. They're doing some really good work as well. But you know, there are these places, and let's start putting together. Let's start picking each other up and helping each other. Because we're way behind. We're decades behind. This system, they've taken the jump, and what they've done, they've nobbled the MPs' ears. Think about it. MPs will all day long stand there in the House of Parliament and talk about women's rights and this, that, the other, because it's the cool thing now, right? Men's rights, they don't want to know because we've all gone silent, right? And if they're not talking to you, if they're not talking about these things, don't vote for them. Put your vote elsewhere, right? Make it count. Honestly, we have a power, but we're too soft with it. We're lackadaisical with it, and we don't voice up. We need to start raising this. We need to start putting these people under pressure. These people are the ones that are supporting the oppressors. So let's start taking their power away from them, and then see if they're going to start helping us out and making changes and leveling the playing field. Right now, it's like that. You know, one side's got it's all in favour of one side. But that's not equality. If
that's
things
bias.
are equal,
That's a
right,
bias.
it's level for both sides. Both things apply. The system works for both parties.
Can you get, without going into too much detail, can you give us like a hypothetical situation of like a bias in court against a man?
So, well, I'll give this one, right? So, a brother I know is in court, and you know, he was there. So, it transpired that the woman wrote down a false accusation that we were at a chip shop in a place, and he threw hot water on my face and scolded my face. But that event did happen, but it happened the other way around. She did that to him.
Whoa.
Right? So he went to the restaurant where it happened, right? And on the off chance, then they said like, oh, I need some footage at this date and time and blah, blah, blah. So they said, we can't give it to you because of like GDPR and all that jazz. But, you know, we can give it to the police and stuff. So he gave them the details of the coppers and stuff, right? He reported to the police, right? They sent that footage to the coppers. The coppers got it. They didn't do nothing with it. Now, this isn't bias in court. Actually, the judge did the right thing. And the judge saw the footage, called her in, bollocked her and this, that, the other, then called the brother in. And then basically, then he reported the woman for ABH, for actual bodily harm. And that's actually, so that was the system kind of working, right? But there's other times where the woman's admitted in court that she's gone on top of the guy's car bonnet with her stiletto, kicked in the windscreen, broken through. The guys had to go to that auto shield place and stuff like that, get replaced and all that, right? And through questioning, we kind of like, he got her to admit it, that yeah, I did it. And that she's been imprisoned him and all this sorts of stuff. And the judge knew that this woman's that toxic as, that's some craziness going on here.
That's crazy.
One. But she still sided with her in the point of that, yeah, he must have battered you, because there's no way that no human being could deal with this level of craziness and not react. So the guy still had to do a domestic abuse course and stuff like that to go get to see his kid.
Bro, you know how mad this, not on facts, but on probability that he could have never been in a relationship with a woman that toxic.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have not hit her.
Yeah. And
do you know how crazy that sounds though? Not that he actually done it.
Yeah, and the brother's straight. I'll tell you this much, right? And he said to me, like, Ahmed, I've not done it. Wallahi, right? And I believe him, right? Because at that point, you'd be like, yeah, well, fair enough. Because, like, brothers like, well, look, I was a bit of an idiot then, right? Fair enough. If I have to do this. There's a level of acceptance.
Yeah.
But when the guys are like, no, and they're really fighting hard, because how are you supposed to admit, right? Because they're now in court, right? If you say that I don't accept your findings, then they're going to stop you from seeing the kids. Like, well, no, there's no remorse and this, that, the other. Well, that works against you. So now you have to like, well, yeah, it's such a mind bend.
Wow.
Right? Honestly, it's such a strange place, court. I wish it on nobody, honestly. It's... I understand why I get brothers calling me up every week, every 2 weeks in tears, and like they're absolutely tearing out their hair, and their hearts just absolutely being destroyed because of this, and it's like, well, and then you got that level of like, well, how am I I have to admit to abusing this woman despite the fact that I've never laid a hand on her. How do you reconcile that in your head? And then some brothers do it because it's just like, if that's the price I got to pay to see my kid, anything, at any cost, I'll do whatever it takes to see my kid in there. And it's just like, no, it's just not the way, And the thing is, right, I try to contact the Department of Justice to get some stats. They fob me off with some BS and stuff, right? But, and I'm telling you, they never publish these stats, but it would be an interesting stat to ask for them for. How many people that have got been classed as abusers then spend time with their kids and then abuse their kids and have to go to jail and stuff? I'm telling you, you'd be lucky to find 1%, right? Because I've never come across anybody in that thing, right? Yeah, and when things happen and say that, oh, this is what happens in society, right? You hear stories about it. I've never ever heard a story like that. And ask yourselves, if there's a story out there and you know about it, write in the comments. Good to hear about it. Well, not good to hear about it, but interested to hear about it. But it's just like absolutely crazy how the system works, and we need to combat it. We need to get together, join up, and really push these people and push the system and say, no, we're not taking it anymore.
So do you think that's the solution, and what we need to be on trying to change the system because the system's against us in that aspect? Or do we need women to just hold other women accountable and stuff like that?
Remember this much, right? This isn't an only man's issue out of this, right? For every man there's a mother, a sister, cousins, family, all that sort of stuff, right? And other wives that are behind them seeing this man struggle to get through his pain, right? And they're trying to support him and get him together. So, there are a lot of women involved in this, and they know the truth. They know the truth to it. And all of us joined together, and actually, there's a sister, a revert sister, her name's Sister Sally-Ann Burris. So when they're throwing stats in you that, statistically, men are more violent than women and stuff like that, Sister Sally-Ann Burris has checked this out, right? I'll give you the details. It might be worth doing a podcast with her, inshallah. Right?
Inshallah.
And she's the one that's actually, she's broken down. I won't take credit for her work, right? And in fact, go check her work out. She's part of Split the Difference and stuff. She's gone out and done the work, and she's actually found that what's happening, right, is when a man's reporting an abuse incident, it's counted maybe twice in the system. When a woman's claiming abuse and stuff, it's counted about 6 to 8 times in the system. So straight away, if you had 10 people reporting on either side, 10 men reporting it and 10 women reporting it, the stats will still be like that because of the ratio of the reporting. There's so many agencies that are reporting the same incident twice, and then the Office of Stats.
Okay.
So the National Statistics Office, they're not vetting the info that are coming through. This is not my work. This is Sister Sally Ann Burris. Go check her out. She's done a video on this and stuff, right? She's done the work on it, right? And go contact her if you want to know more about it. But that's how it works. So when you get these people, but statistically, don't listen to that, right? Go check it, vet it properly. Go check the stats. Statistics can be manipulated into whatever you want, right? So let's just start looking at it with a more common sense lens, and you'll start really seeing what the deal really is.
That's absolutely. I never even knew that. I'm learning more and more new things every single day. What advice would you give to a man that's been denied access of seeing his child? What advice would you give to him?
Right. So we'll kind of break it off into 2 kind of tiers here, right? Firstly, if there's a way of negotiating with the other party and not going to court, take it all day long, right? When you go to court, right, that should be the last resort, not the first resort, right? Everybody, like if you're a woman watching this, right, try and negotiate, please, right? For the sake of the children, try and negotiate, try and come to an amicable solution. This will be in the benefit of the child, and the child will love you even more for it, right? So if you can negotiate through friends, family, whatever it is, mediation services of any kind, right, take it, right, and try and make an agreement outside of court. If that fails, then you've got to go court, right? And now, if you are going to go on that path, get the right advice, prepare yourself, do your due diligence, go find, if you want to go down the path of solicitors and barristers and all that jazz, go find the right people, go get yourself the right team. In anything, you've got the right team around you, they're going to get you the right result, inshallah, right? So that's the first step, right? But again, like I said to you, finances plays a big part in this. If you don't have the finances, go speak to other brothers. Like I said to you, we're out there. There are other groups as well. Check them out on Facebook and stuff like that, like Mackenzie Friends, Father's Rights type, places, Dad's Rights and all that sort of stuff. There's all these kind of places that you can go to. But we're out there as well, Muslim Fathers Support Forum. Join up, right, and start posting questions up and stuff, and the people will start helping you, and you'll slowly but surely you'll find the right collective that you'll be like, right, this is my clique and this is who I'm going to roll with, and then they'll help you set yourself up to get the win, inshallah. So there's that kind of thing. Now, one thing I do want to stress here, if you're at that stage where you've got a non-molestation order against you and occupation orders and stuff, as we spoke about at the start of this thing, don't break that. The women are relying. The reason they put these things in early is because you're emotional, and you're gonna act the fool up straight away because it's just easy, because you're triggered because you're putting your hair out. You're emotional, and that's when you make mistakes. It's that mindset. If you are going to go down court, you've got to have the right mindset. You've got to be rational. You can't be emotional. You're going to have to push your emotions. It's easier said than done. I get it, right? These are our kids. We love them dearly, right? And you're saying that, Ahmed, what you want me to park my heart aside? Yeah, sadly, that is what I'm saying. I know it's easier said than done, but you've got to do this. And you've got to remember, it's a system. Whenever you're playing like Mario Kart and this, that, the other, right? It's a system, right? You know how to make, and you got your plans. Right? Okay, this is what I'm going to put the booster on at this time and all that sort of stuff, right? You've got tactics. You've got to do the same thing with this, and you've got to go in there with your plan. And if you get emotional, you forget your plan, then you start acting rash. That's where mistakes kick in. Non-molestation orders, do not break them at any cost. I don't care how bad you're feeling, this, that, the other, right? Go down the gym, go get hit the bags, whatever it is you got to do to sweat that pain out. Go do it elsewhere. Don't turn up at the door, because then it's just going to cause you so much trouble. Once you do get yourself the C100 and all that sort of stuff, then the process begins. Like I said to you, you're going to start off with an initial hearing where you're setting your position out, she's setting her position out. Kafkas will be there taking a box standards safeguarding thing. Then if she's made a shed load of allegations, basically it's going to head towards something called a finding of fact hearing, where she's going to put her allegations forward, you're going to put your allegations forward and all that sort of stuff, and you're going to defend yourself against her allegations and so on. At the end of that, right, if nothing's found against you, or even if stuff's been found against you, it basically moves to a Section 7 report. A Section 7 report is basically looking at this from what's best for the child. It's a bit strange, right? But there they'll try and figure out, like, if, you know, is he abusive, this, that, the other, all that sort of stuff, and try and say, well, actually, maybe dad should only see the child. The standard is every other weekend, right? But remember, the law states that you should have equal rights, so that's what you should be pushing for. Right? And if you get equal rights, if you've got 50-50 access, you don't pay child maintenance, by the way. Something to consider, right? So once you get to that stage, then you've got to get to the final hearing, contested and stuff. Then inshallah, at the end of it all, you've got access to your kids. That's, in a very nutshell sort of thing, simplistic, but that's the kind of the process. Obviously, it's long-winded.
So it's not a straightforward process.
No, but it depends. So, like, let's just say you got a woman that's not made any allegations and stuff. Then from there, it's going to be pretty straightforward, inshallah. Let's hope that becomes more normal, right? But if there's allegations and stuff like that, and the kids are being alienated against you, and they're saying stuff, then then there's delays, because then the children need therapy. Because parental alienation is actually classed as domestic abuse, not domestic, child abuse. Sorry, yeah, because you're messing with the child's mind, you're manipulating the child, and you're causing that mental trauma, essentially. Right? This is by some psychologists. Look this stuff up. Karen Woodall and various people like that.
But is it classed as a crime though?
It's not classed as a crime.
That's where the issue lies.
So but that's just it, right?
If it was classed as a crime, I guarantee women would be so scared of committing it.
Well, think about it, right? If somebody said to me, right, oh, if you were to fix the system, what would that look like? Well, straight away, right? 50-50 on the legal aid, right?
100%.
Yeah? Straight away, okay, there's no advantages there, right? So there's no point of me making allegations, right? Then on top of it, right, if you're not seeing your kid, then the child maintenance people should actually then say, well, actually, you know what? You pay a smaller rate. You pay the minimum rate, like what child benefit is or something. I don't know, right? Until
you see your child, then we'll give you the full whack.
Well, then from there, then if you're seeing the child, then I don't think fathers mind paying, because the father then does pay anyway. Because when the child comes with you, right, you're going to take them to soft play, Alton Towers, and all that sorts of stuff, right? You're going to buy them the clothes. You take them down to JD Sports and kit them out and stuff, right? You'd start doing that naturally anyway.
I say that to people, but I think like women still want that money for themselves.
That's just it, isn't it? It's the motive for the money.
Because if, like I said, if a woman gives access to a man from Friday to Sunday, how is the child going to eat? If the dad has no money,
exactly.
He's going to have to spend. And if you're not giving him clothes, guess what he's going to have to do? Instead of moaning, saying, oh, she's not giving me clothes, 9 out of 10 men or 8 out of 10 men, families, and everyone get together and be like, go buy the girl some clothes, or go buy the boy some clothes, or take him to... Because you're going to have to, because the kid ain't got clothes.
But they want to, isn't it?
Yeah, right? Of course. Yeah, that's your that's your time that you get to spend with your child, and you get to kit them up and say, oh, put that on, that looks nice, oh, I like that, I don't like that. Nah, I don't like them. And, oh, they're comfortable. All right, walk in them. You like them? All right, yours. Because it's like that's what fathers want to do for the children. That's why we work. We don't work for ourselves. When you have children, you're not working for yourself. You're working for your family. That's everything to you after that.
Exactly, right? And this is it. And, this is what disturbs me. And like I said, we're going back to the three main causes. The attacking the wallet, the money, right? Control, because think about it, a lot of toxic people tend to have control issues. And they like telling you what to do. And if you don't do it, they're going to let you know about it.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's revenge. Why did you leave me? And this, that, the other. All that
you cheated on me.
Yeah. Like for whatever it is.
You left me for her.
Oh. Yeah.
There's all kinds of reasons. But it's still not viable to stop a man from seeing his child. Yeah, especially if he's a good father. I feel like for society, the worst thing a woman could ever do is stop a good man from being in that child's life. Because that child is actually being deprived of a God-given privilege and of a good father. Because say a man's a great father and he teaches his child, he spends time with his child, and the child loves him. To deny the access, forget him for 1 second. It's the child's mental when they grow up, like, my dad don't love me, and then they have something called attachment issues. And they get too attached to older men, and they all look, and the mum's like, I don't know why my child's like this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of papers out there about the psychology of this stuff, and it's like exactly what you said there. It is that, and this is it. Come on, man, ladies, just don't do it. The only people you're really going to hurt in the long term are the kids.
That's it,
right? So let's just try and shy away from that. Listen, whatever it is, the situation done, dusted. Let's just try and both parties get together and try and raise happy, healthy human beings.
That's it.
They've got both your blood. Right? Surely, every parent wants to see their kid win.
That should be the case,
right? And this is it. And this is the biggest win in life they'll get. And it is doable. That's the thing. It's totally doable. But unfortunately, you got people that don't want it to roll that way. And another part of this as well. When brothers go through this whole process, they're actually traumatized at the end of it, even if they come out with the win.
100%. I've seen so many broken men, and he's aged. I'm talking about he looks older than what he is.
Yeah.
And you'd be looking at him thinking, what's wrong? And then, I'm cool, man. Men, we just got this natural vibe of saying, yeah, I'm cool, man, everything's all right. And then when you start speaking to him, you're like, oh, how's your child? I ain't seen my child for 3 years. You're like, whoa, what happened? I thought you lot was happily married. What happened, Heck? He's like, I'm like, man, we got a divorce. Okay, but why can't you see your child? I understand people get divorced. I understand relationships don't work. I understand two people are not made for each other. But what's going on with your child? You're not checking for your child. Oh, she just stopped me, innit? What do you mean she stopped you? Why? Yeah, me and her, because they worked out, and she said that obviously I done whatever I done. I'm like, what did you do? He's like, I cheated. And he's like, okay, but what's that got to do with not seeing your child? Do you want to see your child? Where's she at? Do you have a number? Let me call her. No, it's long. I don't want. So it's like he's pushing all his emotions, but then you look in his face, and you can see the stress, he's stretching, lines on his head, and you're like, you're only 21. Yeah. You shouldn't be looking that old. You should be looking older than me, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
It's aged.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is. It's constant. For that 8-9 months, right? It's just constant. No matter what you're doing, you could be living your best life, but that pain don't go away. It's just there. You could be out. You could be at a restaurant eating the greatest chicken and rice. Yeah, the world's greatest chicken and rice. You're eating that, but still there.
Yeah.
Right. It's just crazy, and that trauma. It takes a minute to sort of get over it. I tell you this much. And brothers need help with that, and this is where we need to talk. Go see some therapists and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's no shame in it. That's one side that we don't speak about. Men don't speak about that. When they go through stuff like this, these traumatizing, because it's traumatizing not seeing your child. So I feel like that's the mental health part is nothing. I've never heard that getting ever spoken about. A man because there's no services for him. As for a woman, there's 1,000 services for a woman. But if I ask a lot of people, give me a few services to do with men that, mental health services, so he can speak to someone about how much pain he's going through not seeing his child. And that's why these groups that you created and other people are creating, they're amazing groups that men can come out and feel like there's a safe space where I can tell everyone and I'm not going to get judged because everybody in there has probably been through the same thing.
Well, here's an interesting point about just what you just spoke about there. So if a man gets tossed out of his home, right, there's no refuge for men, right? But if a woman, there's women's refuges galore, right? You check them out, you'll see a whole list of them. Just do a quick Google, you'll see a list in this. Do a men's refuge, you ain't going to find nothing. That guy's got to sleep in his car, crash on his mate's sofa, he'll get back to his mum's house, and if he doesn't have any of that stuff, then it's sleeping out on the streets, right? And this is the reality men face. But nobody wants to talk about these things because everybody wants to talk about, female domestic abuse,
And it's always when we start speaking about these topics, I guarantee you, what about women? Movement. Is that a movement now? What about women? Movement.
Look, man. There's no man, right? Even men that have abused women will say, you know what? It's not right to abuse women. It's not right. They'll put their hands up. That you know what? I shouldn't have put my hands on her. Right? I'm sorry about that. And this, that, the other. Right? You'll get that. And then if they see like a woman posting about domestic abuse, they'll be like, yeah, that's wrong. There won't be, no man will turn up and say, yeah, but what about male domestic abuse? Oh, I was battered by my wife. You never see that on the women's thing, because they'll be like, yeah, that's wrong. That shouldn't happen. But the same sentiment is not there for the men. And that's the bit that really bothers me as well, because all we're going to do there is just keep this hamster wheel turning. Let's put a stop to this hamster wheel and let's start making some changes.
Facts.
And the way we're going to do that, brothers, is just joining together, voicing up, and let's let these people know. Let them know our stories. Let them know our pain. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And if you know somebody that's going through it, reach out. Put your arm around him. Be there for the guy. And direct him. If you see this, maybe send him to this little thing. Hopefully it's been of benefit, right? But definitely, let's just start picking each other up. Forget fighting each other, right? It doesn't matter who's got the latest drip and this, that, the other, right? Well, that don't matter. If we elevate each other and we get our kids right, then our society is going to be a lot better.
Inshallah.
And that's what we need, inshallah.
Yeah, plug in, tell everyone where they can find you, because it's really important.
So if you want to look out for us, you want to join the collective, we're Muslim Fathers Support Forum. We're on Facebook at the moment. We are just putting together a charity and putting a website together. Inshallah, that should be up and running soon enough. But the starting point is there, and then from that you'll get links to all the other WhatsApp groups and stuff like that. And just come, support each other. And and if you got issues, come voice up, tell us your story, and see if we can point you in the right direction to get help, and inshallah get you back with your kids.